We're continuing to talk to 2024 PMEA All-State Conductors on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast. Well, everybody, and welcome to this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. We're continuing to do our series here where we're speaking with some of the guest conductors for this year's PMEA All-State Festival. So today we are in kind of a band world. We're talking with the wind ensemble conductor and the concert band conductor. So we're going to start talking wind ensemble, and I'm delighted to have with us today Dr. Andrea Strauss. Andrea is the conductor of Terra Winds. She is taught in higher ed, taught a variety of ensembles. So I think she's going to be a wonderful addition to be conducting the wind ensemble. Andrea, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it is my pleasure, Mark.
And we'll tell people watching the video that the weather is a factor today where you are. So the video might be a little slow, but we can hear you. That's all that matters.
Okay, hopefully cross your fingers. We'll make it a go.
Exactly, yeah. So let's talk about what you have planned for the 2024 PMEA All-State Wind Ensemble. What are some of the highlights of the musical program you've selected?
Okay, I'm really excited about the music that we're going to program. I've got 4 works lined up, and they're very well crafted by 4 world-class composers. And this music for me has staying power, has sustainability, because they're just written so well. And I think the works will have an artistic impact, not just on the player, but also on the listener. And I really think there's something for everything in this program. If I could take a minute to talk about the pieces,
Sure.
The opener is a high energy opener by Julie Giroux. She is an Emmy award-winning composer. I love Julie, she's awesome. When Terra Winds was selected to play at the Midwest Clinic in 2015, I called her up and said, Julie, I've got to get you to write an opener. And I told her I had 20 or 25 B-flat clarinets and I want them to play really fast and furious. And I said, like just flying. And that's how the piece got its name. And so the opener is full of energy, high energy, and it's really going to be captivating. The second tune is by Luigi Zanninelli, and Luigi is the oldest living composer still writing for band in the United States. And this piece is charming. It's 3 dances of enchantment. The first movement is called Via Veneto, and it actually is a modern foxtrot. And it's really, if you've ever been to Rome and been at the Via Veneto, it's luxury bars, elegant hotels, cafes, everyone's drinking espresso, and it's dolce vita. So that's really going to be exciting and a change of flavor from the opener. The second movement is She Walks Through the Fair. This is a haunting, almost a bittersweet melody that he's written, and it's based on a Celtic folk song that he heard when he was in Ireland. And it's just beautiful. It's a waltz style, but for me, it's almost like a sad lullaby. Then the third movement is Feast of San Rocco, and it's a big celebration. When Luigi was 5 years old in Raritan, New Jersey, they had the Feast of San Rocco in town, and he heard of the bold tartness of an Italian band, and it was loud and wonderful, and he loved it. And I think that's why he loves writing for band to this day. The third piece that we're going to do is called Dances from Crete by Adam Gord. Adam Gord is a wonderful composer from Britain, and this was commissioned by Timothy Rainish. And we're going to do 2 movements. The first movement is called Syrtos, and it is a dance, but it's intended to serve as a portrait of the Minotaur. A Minotaur is that half bull, half human, famous creature. And it feeds on young men and women that are sacrificed to him. And he's actually killed by the hero Theseus. So it's pretty dramatic. and exciting. And the last movement that we're going to do of dances from Crete, and you can tell the flavor is going to be so different because it's music from a completely different culture. And the fourth movement is called Sirtaki, and it's also a modern Greek dance, but it starts off with the trumpets kind of come onto stage, from off stage, swaggering, playing somewhat of a vulgar melody, and the music gets fast and furious, almost into a frenzy, where it really ends up almost in total anarchy. They're smashing plates at the end of it. So it's going to be very entertaining. And our encore piece is Dance of the Gestures by Tchaikovsky, arranged by Ray Kramer. And it's really exciting. I think it will really get everyone on their feet. And all of these works have such artistic importance, and I think they'll have some real lasting value, not just for the player, but also for the listener.
Yeah, okay, I love this. I love the variety here. As a clarinet player, I love the opener. As someone with some Greek ancestry, I love what you're doing in the dances from Crete. I love the breaking plates. So this is going to be fun. I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Now, I have a story if I could share.
Sure.
When I programmed dances from Crete with my ensemble when I was director of bands at Georgia Tech, we actually broke plates. Those students were engineers, so they were very interested in making this happen, and they created acrylic walls. Did I lose you? Are you okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Wore the goggles and smashed plates,
Love
and
it.
we did have some shards kind of reach out into the horn section, so I'm not going to do that again. We're going to create the smashing plate sounds with hitting cymbals.
Very cool. All right, that's a great preview for everyone, for the students, and then for anyone who's coming to watch. All right, so let's talk about the students. What are you hoping the students will get out of this experience participating in this particular wind ensemble at the 2024 All-State Conference?
Well, that's a great question. And the first thing that came to mind was passion. I want them to experience passion through music making on the highest level. You'll see that from me because I am that passionate about making music and band and playing, on a really high level. And also beauty. I want them to feel the beauty in the music, the emotional content in the music, so that it transforms them, which then of course transforms the audience. And that happens when you're very prepared, you really have a relationship with the music, and that can happen. And it's somewhat magical. And I really hope that those two things together, passion and beauty, come together to make it an unforgettable weekend.
So then let's flip that script a little bit. What is it like for you to stand in front of an honors ensemble like this? Different students coming together from all these different schools, probably some nerves in the room, and everybody comes together for that first rehearsal. What's that feeling like for you? What's it like for you?
Well, for me, it's a sheer honor. It is such an honor and a privilege to work with the best of the best. Honestly, it will be probably the highlight of my year. It's my favorite thing to do is to conduct an all-state honor band. And I think for me, it's the music stays with us in our hearts. And if we play on the level that I believe we will, that will be something that we will never forget. It's in the moment. That weekend will happen, and it will be the only time that we're together playing this music, and we have to live in the moment. And in order to do that, we have to really embrace the fact that it's a team effort, that we're all equally important. And in order to really have the music transcend us all, we all have to realize that the overall success is when everyone is equally important and contributes 100%. I'm from upstate New York, and this is the first All-State that I'll I've been invited to conduct in the Northeast part of the United States. And so for me, it's almost like coming home. So I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be life-changing.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're certainly looking forward to having you here. So I know we have a lot of students watching this, want to get a sense of you, who they'll be working with for a few days. So what is the one thing you would want the students to know who are going to be in the wind ensemble to know about you before they arrive in Erie?
That I value each and every one of them, that they're all important. When I get on the podium, they have 100. They automatically have 100, and that we create a team together, and that the collaboration that we'll do making music will really be, and develop a relationship with the music will really be a transforming experience. And I can't wait to get to know them. It's always something that you cherish in your heart, and that's what makes music just so wonderful. We need beauty in our world. Uh, my husband is a magistrate judge, and boy, I hear stories about the other part of the world. I live in the best of the best world, making music with Tara Winds, with all-state groups, and it doesn't get much better than that. And I think that musical gift that we're going to create and we're going to offer to the audience is going to be a gift that they will never forget, and we will never forget and always cherish.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to this. I know students are looking forward to it, and certainly after this preview today, that has upped it. So we will see you in just really a few short weeks as the countdown continues. Dr. Andrea Strauss, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to what the Wind Ensemble will do in Erie.
Truly my pleasure, and I can't wait. I'm counting the days.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, everyone. Moving along, we are now talking about the All-State Concert Band, and I am delighted to have Alfred Watkins here, who will be the 2024 All-State Concert Band Conductor. Alfred, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, and thanks for asking me to be here.
Absolutely. So you actually have been on the podcast before. So folks that have seen the podcast can go back a couple years and get a little bit of information. I think I said to you on the podcast then, and it still holds true, that you were one of these people that I put on my band director Hall of Fame because I've just been always so impressed by the work that you did. And when I was in high school, I was a fan of Lassiter High School, and I watched the work that you were doing, and I've kind of followed your career. So it is an incredible thing for me personally that you will be with us at the All-State Festival. I'm so delighted you're going to be coming.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for those very kind comments. You're never quite so sure what the public sees when you're in your everyday activities and everyday process of trying to build an organization and build a band and public performances. We do so many things, and we go out and do public performances, whatever they may happen to be. And we go back home and we kind of celebrate them within our own midst. But yes, but they're videotaped, they're audio taped, and they're live viewers there. And I'm pleased to hear that it has had a lasting effect on you and perhaps on your career.
Yeah, it certainly has, and I appreciate that. So for those folks out there who might not know you, let's start with this. I ask you to kind of give your thumbnail sketch, kind of give us your bio in brief for our viewers and also for the students who are going to be part of the All-State Concert Band.
Well, I'm a 69-year-old individual who lives in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. And for me to capsule 69 years, 48 of which are in the profession, can sometimes be challenging and be lengthy. But for the sake of brevity, I'll give you the thumbnail sketch. Again, I'm a 69-year-old father and grandfather. Been married to my wife for, it'll be 41 years in July. We have 2 sons. They're adult sons. And I'm from a small town here in Georgia, a little town, Jackson, Georgia. Played trumpet in the school band. Matriculated to my band director's alma mater in Tallahassee, Florida, a school called Florida A&M University. Received a great music education degree and an applied trumpet degree. Although the degree was a music education degree, the requirements were to give 2 recitals the last 2 years, which is kind of a performance degree also. And I worked for 6 years in Atlanta Public School System, picked up a program that was in dire straits of terms of performance and practice, and built it into a solid program. Uh, Matriculated to Lasseter High School in the northern suburbs of Atlanta, 1982, and started off the Lasseter band with 120 members, and at its height it was about 425. School was normally about 2,500 students, and it was a marquee program, I guess you could call it, in its time and place. The band participated in 4 Tournament Roses parades, 3 Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades. Was a marching band that was competitive in Bands of America. We won 9 regional championships, 2 Grand National championships, had 2 Winter Guards, one of which won 2 World Championships, percussion ensemble, one which played the Midwest twice, and the Percussive Arts Society Conference once. Jazz band, 2 jazz bands. One was just on the threshold of being in the Essentially Ellington contest as a finalist. And I taught 10,000 students at Lasseter. About mid-career, I initiated a group called the Cobb Wind Symphony, an all-adult community band, out of the encouragement of my former students who wanted the place to play. And I started the band up in 1999, did the first rehearsals, and here I am now 25 years later. I'm the program music director and it's sole main conductor, and we give 4 concerts a year. I do clinics, honor bands, workshops all over the country. I've had the pleasure of conducting high school and our college bands, but mostly high schools, in 38 of the 50 states. And I think Pennsylvania will be somewhere around 31, 32 all-state bands. So I'm looking forward to coming to Erie, looking forward to working with those fine students in that region and the fine band directors in that region. And that's the thumbnail sketch of me.
Yeah, and so I think that explains to folks why I'm so excited to see you being here conducting the All-State Concert Band. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about the actual concert band. Let's talk about the musical program you've selected. Talk to us about that.
Well, it has good variety to it, and I don't have a standard all-state band program. I do all-state bands based on the regions and the information that comes back to me as to what the all-state band composition will look like and the size of it and things of the sort. Your particular program, I believe we're opening with a terrific opening fanfare. It's actually, it's a longer fanfare, but it's just fabulous. It's called Ceremonial Flourishes by the composer James Kernow. And it's trumpety, a melody, lots of percussion, flourishes in the woodwinds, and it has to have a mighty big, powerful horn section that you'll have in that all-state band. We're opening with that. I think the second piece of the program is, and maybe the third piece, but I'm a little out of order this morning, is Sound and Smoke, the first movement by a brilliant young composer by the name of Viet Quang. It's one of Viet's first big hits, and as the country probably already knows, Viet is a former student of mine at Lasseter. He was a young percussionist, and he also played in the clarinet section. He was an all-state percussionist and an all-state clarinet player, if you can believe that combination. He was writing music in high school, and his mentor, composition teacher, was the assistant director of bands, Catherine Sanan at that time, Catherine Sanan Bushman. She's director of bands at St. Cloud State in Minnesota now. But she was his go-to for his compositions. We actually played one of Viet's compositions on his last senior spring concert. It was a 9-minute big piece called The Crusaders. Melodies were good, ranges were good, counter melodies were good, transitions were good. It was a full-fledged, good, solid concert band piece that a band could play nowadays, and you would not know it was an 18-year-old. And I'll tell you more about Sound and Smoke and the notions behind it. But he's now Dr. Quang. He has 3 degrees in composition. I think his 3rd degree may have been from the Curtis Institute most recently. And he just got married about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm very proud of Viet. One of the other pieces on the program is called Only Light, Only Love, written by a fine composer in our region of the country, Leslie Gilreath, Gilreath. Leslie is now president of the South Carolina Music Educators Association. He's a high school band director by trade, arranger for marching bands, and composer for concert bands. In addition to that, and he has been very much motivated and inspired by the works and the works and the work, particularly of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. here in my hometown of Atlanta. And one of Dr. King's messages is that only light, only love will change the hearts and minds of our country, and other things will not do it. Only light and only love. And Leslie was very much intrigued by that part of the Dr. King philosophy. And this piece is a lovely, lovely lyrical piece. Lots of keyboard percussion players and a lot of cascading signs, a lot of solo voices. I think it's something that the ensemble will really, really enjoy. See what else is in that program. I know the Governor's Own March is in it. Oh yeah, the Governor's Own March is written by Alton Adams. Alton Adams was the first African-American bandmaster in the United States Navy. Turn of the century friend of John Philip Sousa and Henry Gilmore, not Henry, I'm thinking Henry Fillmore, Edwin Franklin Goldman, I beg your pardon. And it's a great piece. It's a little quick. So when you practice it through the All-State Band, the tempo is going to be 132 to 136. It's probably marked 120. But I play it closer to the Circus March area. So when you prepare it on the quick side, because that's where it's going to go. But I think you'll enjoy playing it. It's real spirited and one of the favorites of John Philip Sousa. And the last piece on the program is by Philip Spark, who's normally a brass composer out of Great Britain. The piece is entitled Portrait of a City. So 3-movement work. We're going to play the first movement only, called Skyline. And it's basically a drive through London in a sports car at a relatively high speed when the streets are about empty around midnight. When you're just out and about and you just, the top is back, the windows are open, and you're just driving around. It's called Portrait of a City, and that piece is London. So it's a kind of a classical jazzy piece. The students really, really enjoy playing. That is the program for your conference.
All right, yeah, really looking forward to that. So let's talk a little bit about the students then. From your perspective, what are you hoping that the students will get out of the experience of being in this all-state concert band?
We hope that you enjoy the community that you will build while you're there. You're going to come from north, south, east, and west in the state of Pennsylvania. You'll have some that will be urban, some that will be suburban, and some that will be rural. But once we begin to play our first sets of notes, then you're all the same. And your local schools and your communities go away, and we go about the business of trying to make music. In such a magical, magical moment. And I know you're excited about being in the All-State Band and probably a little nervous. As a conductor, I'll make sure that you're very comfortable in the environment. I'm not going to embarrass you, ask you to play parts that are not quite under your fingers just yet, and make sure that everything that you do is a positive experience. And the music making is going to be an all-time high for us. That's what I look forward to.
So from your perspective, then, obviously you've done a lot of these. You listed that a little bit earlier. But what is it like for you to stand before an honors ensemble like this? When you get up there, are there nerves for you? What is it like for you?
I'm just as nervous for them. I'm just as nervous myself. But we've learned as adults, almost seniors now, not to show it and how not to show it. So we kind of look like we're not, but we're nervous. I get nervous because I don't want to disappoint the students that they are looking for this great experience of being in the all-state band. That is it's a downer. It doesn't feel like it's great music making. It's a great atmosphere. So I'm anxious before. I'll be anxious 2 or 3 days going into it. Pardon me. I'll study my scores like crazy. I'll study the seating arrangement, and I want to make sure that I don't disappoint the student. That getting this for all of us lasts about an hour to an hour and a half. Then after that, then we become good friends artistically. And I try to teach them things around the notes, the meanings of the music, why the music exists, how it was composed, why it was composed, how the thematic material works itself through, how the counter material works through, how the fragmentation of the songs are put when something is turned upside down and melodically, where that is and how do you fit into that. So we take a deep dive into the composition itself And so then the students tend to have a greater understanding of the architecture and the art of a song, and not just playing through the notes and giving a concert for the parents on Sunday.
So what would be the one thing that you would want students to know about you before they arrive for that first rehearsal and that first downbeat happens?
That I'm a high school band director by trade, which means we have eyes here, but we have ears everywhere else. And we can hear and see and feel a community really, really well. And really how proud I am and excited for them to be able to perform at the state level. One of the things that I've noticed being a school teacher in the high schools for 37 years is that in our country we pay a huge premium toward athletics. It's a religion in the Southeast, as all of you know. Football's a religion here, but it's not so much doesn't take a backseat in Pennsylvania either. And so it doesn't allow in the everyday activity of the school for the artistic students, or in our case, the band students, to be front and center. So my intent, what you won't know is that my goal is to bring joy to you. I must have a joyous situation. I believe in laughter. I believe in controlled laughter. We'll do something and we'll laugh about it for 5 seconds and we're back on task. I'll tell a story, maybe humorous, we'll be back on task. And it's a kind of it feels a little loose, yet structured and disciplined, organized at the same time. And I think I like that engagement of the personality. And that's kind of what you may not recognize from me, because I'm not much different than your teacher back home. I'm just a little bit older. But my goal is to put the ensemble together in a joyous manner.
Well, Alfred, we are looking forward to having you in Pennsylvania for the All-State Concert Band. It's coming up soon, so we can't wait to see you. Thanks for joining us and talking today.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you at the conference.
And thank you all for joining us on this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. We want to thank our sponsor, the Grove City College Department of Music, and we'll see you next time.